Today, we're traveling back in time to draft some Brothers War. That's right, it's time for another Midweek Magic, where we battle it out to win individual rare cards and cosmetics. Draft is admittedly not my strong suit, but I've been taking my time researching the format in the lead up to this event. Will we piece together an awesome machine, or will my inexperience cause us to short circuit? Let's find out. Alright, it is Midweek Magic time. We are doing some Brothers War draft, a format that I'm not terribly familiar with, and immediately we got a pretty big bomb right here. The Phyrexian Fleshgorger is like a really good card. It sees a lot of play in Standard. It's a colorless card, which means we don't exactly have to devote ourselves to black for the prototype ability. So this is definitely going to be a turn one keeper right here. The pack one, pick one. I will also mention that this draft format is phantom, so I'm not going to be keeping any of the cards that we see here, but we're just going to go for whatever we think is the best. We got a decent amount of black here. Aetherflux Reservoir is not super crazy good and limited. It's rare we're ever gonna see this be a win con. Coastal Bulwark is okay. The sort of idea behind doing Brothers War drafts is you want to make sure you keep all your artifacts open and then just try to grab some good support cards afterwards. Ambush Paratrooper does seem like a pretty good card. You can pump stuff up with all the Power Stone tokens in the format, so we'll keep it in the sideboard for now. We're not dedicated to white right now, but we'll just see what the rest of the packs offer us. Junkyard Genius is a pretty good card, but unfortunately it's in two colors, and that's a little bit early to be picking those right now. Out of the cards that we see here, honestly, I think I'm okay with taking the Burnished Heart. Getting any kind of ramp in this format would be incredibly good, especially with like a really big Fleshgorger here on our top end of our curve. Combat Thresher is another pretty good one, giving the 3/3 double striking body. We can prototype it if we happen to play some white, which we already have in our sideboard. It's a pretty decent pickup. So honestly, I think this is probably going to be our take. We're going to continue to take colorless until we see something that's really good in our colors. I'm really liking the look of No One Left Behind. I do enjoy the ability to reanimate a creature from the graveyard. If we can get back one of our small prototype creatures and get it back on its big side, that's definitely going to be a problem for our opponent. So I think this is probably going to be our take. We're already pretty deep into the black pool with the Phyrexian Fleshgorger, so this seems like a pretty decent pickup at this time of the game. The black in this pile isn't particularly amazing, but this Scrapwork cohort does actually have a white activated ability for Unearth, so I think we're going to try to stick Orzhov for now and just see where that gets us. It feels incredibly weird passing up a Monastery Swiftspear, but I mean, in Limited, it's not super good. Given all the artifacts that we're going to build, I think Thran Power Suit seems like a pretty decent payoff. If we can find a creature that flies or that tramples over, or again, you know, the Fleshgorger has Menace, then I think this could probably end up being like one of the win cons of our deck, so we're going to go ahead and take that. There's nothing particularly amazing in this pack, at least from what I can tell, so I think we'll just take the Evolving Wilds, make sure we can get both colors of mana. Honestly, we're pretty happy with the second Burnished Heart. That seems somewhat decent. I'm not sure how much the Power Blade is really going to hold on, and I mean, this thing doesn't seem entirely all that great. Yeah, I think we're just going to go ahead and take the Burnished Heart. The less colored mana symbols that we're working with, the easier this draft is going to be. And this looks like this is our original pack, so honestly, out of what's left, I think Dreams of Steel and Oil seems like somewhat decent. It's not often we're gonna get it turn one, but if we can drop this on our unsuspecting opponent, it'll be pretty funny. This pack really has nothing in our colors, and the Aeronaut's Wings isn't exactly what we want to be seeing. Out of the cards that are remaining, I think we're just gonna take the Mishra's Onslaught and just keep that in our sideboard. Seems like the best card in the rest of the pack. Power Stone Fracture is a really good removal spell in this format. We can get rid of a potential Power Stone token, or maybe just one of our creatures that has Unearth, so I think we're gonna go ahead and take this. None of the cards in this pack scream anything all that interesting. Transmogrant Altar, I mean, it's a funny little ramp spell. I don't know how often we're really gonna see much use out of this. I guess we'll just go ahead and stick it in the sideboard. Might not go into the main deck just yet. I think we're gonna take the Coastal Bulwark. I mean, I don't know, it's at least in our colors. Unit of the Third Path doesn't synergize with anything we're trying to do. And yeah, we're just left with the Monastery Swiftspear, so on to pack number 2. Okay, Tocasia's Welcome is like a somewhat decent card, but we have to be playing like a really low curve deck. As is right now, we're not doing too much of that. Mind you, all the creatures that we've drafted so far, if we play like the prototype of the Combat Thresher, there it is. If we play the 3/3 Fleshgorger, it does trigger off Tocasia's Welcome. This actually seems like it's possibly a decent pick for this deck. We're gonna just have to hope that maybe something like Disfigure or Corrupt or Lay Down Arms like cycles back, give us a little bit more removal, but this seems like a pretty decent card draw engine for our deck. We do have another Thran Power Suit, which would be pretty nice, but we're definitely gonna want some creatures to stick on it. As of right now, I think I'm going to take another Scrapwork cohort. At least this thing, having multiples of it, we're able to just keep bringing them back, having them come in with haste, and it looks like it'll be pretty threatening. And speaking of duplicates, I think out of this pack, we're probably just going to take the Combat Thresher again. Again, being able to draw like multiple cards off of this thing is absolutely incredible, so we will not pass up on an opportunity to do that. Alright, Go for the Throat is a pretty good removal spell, assuming we're against like a non-artifact opponent. The only problem is there are quite a lot of artifact creatures in this format, and this doesn't really take care of any of the big ones. But despite that, I think we still need to pick the removal for now. We've only got the Power Stone Fracture, and we're really missing some removal, so this is going to be a pretty nice pick for us. With all the extra card draw that we're going to be doing, this honestly seems like a decent body, and giving it Death Touch and Lifelink can really help with some of the bigger threats in this format. So I think we're going to go ahead and add that to the main deck, just see how things shake up from here. For now, we're kind of struggling a little bit with our lower end of the curve. We're definitely going to want to play a little bit more in the 2 to 3 drop slot. I think grabbing the Phyrexian Infiltrator here, it's not the best card out there, but I mean, at least it fills our curve a bit. We don't have a ton of Power Stone generators just yet, so the Stone Revival unit will actually be a real help. It'll help give us something for the Power Stone Fracture to sacrifice so that we're not getting rid of some of our creatures. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent pick, and we're a little bit low on 4-drops as is. Honestly, just for the fact that it's a pretty decent defender, I think the JayoticMTG is probably going to be our pick here. Again, not the best card in the world, but having a decent blocker with lifelink, it's going to go a long way. Soul Guide Lantern isn't exactly a particularly exciting pick, but being able to exile cards from the graveyard can be relevant. We don't want our opponent to be able to unearth something out of nowhere. So I think we're going to go ahead and grab this. Worst case, it just lets us draw another card. And we're back to our original pack, and it looks like the other Thran Power Suit actually did cycle, so I'm going to go ahead and take the second one. We haven't got a ton in this pack that's really going to work for us, so I guess we'll just grab another Stone Revival unit. We'll see what happens after this. Swiftgear Drake is an interesting card. Having flying and haste can be a pretty good. There aren't a ton of evasive creatures in this format from my knowledge, and being able to potentially take an unearthed creature and shuffle it back into its opponent's deck, it's a pretty big advantage, so I think we'll go ahead and take that for our pick here. I think for the fact that purely it's just like a creature that can do stuff, we're just going to get rid of this dwarf here. I don't think it's going in the deck, but just to get rid of it. Between the creatures, I guess Perimeter Patrol is probably not one that we're going to want to keep. And I don't really think Ivory Tower is going to make it in the deck either way. It's like a reverse rack and it's much less good. So let's check out pack 3. We get rewarded. Oh my god. Alright, this is turning out to be pretty good. I mean, Cloud Key is really good as well. I'm sure that's going to get taken as soon as I pass this pack over. But I mean, Myrel just makes so many soldier tokens. She makes our opponents unable to do anything on our turn, so there's no combat tricks. Honestly, this seems like a complete slam dunk. Oh my god, and we got past a Semblance Anvil. It's gonna make all of our creatures cost less, it's gonna make all of our artifacts cost less. There's no reason not to pick this. This seems really good. Given the fact that I think a lot of the rest of this pack is probably gonna cycle, we might as well just take our Lord for the 2 colors that we're running right now. Again, our curve is getting a little bit on the high end, but we're gonna try to focus on sort of the middle of the curve, the 2 to 3 range this time around. So having one last sort of finisher, something that helps us reanimate something, I think it's going to be a decent draw overall. We're hopefully going to get this Phyrexian Infiltrator sometime back when the pack rolls around. The Goring Warplow would be decent too, but just for the sake of being able to make some Power Stones, we're probably just going to take the Engineer here. Not a ton of good stuff coming out of this pack. Disenchant could be good against some sort of artifact decks. I don't know if it's going to see play in the main board, but considering this is a very artifact heavy set, it could end up being useful. I think I'll go and put it in the sideboard for now, just as a decent pick for a possible sideboarding match later. Gruesome Realization is a pretty good card, but I think we also want to prioritize having creatures. Let's just take a look at our creature count. 16 is actually fairly high. You know what? I think for the sake of getting a bit more draw in, we'll grab the Gruesome Realization. Out of everything that we have in the pack here, the only card that's super useful to us is another cohort, so I guess we'll go ahead and grab that. Disfigure isn't bad. It's able to help us as sort of a combat trick scenario. We might be able to stop one of our creatures from getting killed. We might be able to kill a small creature with it. It's a decent pick overall, and we really need something to sort of get some of our low curve going. While another Trench Stalker would be good, we've already got quite a lot in our 5-drop slot, so I think we're just going to take the Battlefield Butcher and call it a day. Honestly, a Thoughtseize with a Power Stone attached to it is probably about the only decent thing that we want out of this pack, so We'll take it for now, might end up getting cut from the final deck, we'll see where it goes. There's not much of a point of hate drafting considering this is a bot draft, so I guess we'll just take the creature and we'll just see what happens. Again, nothing in this pack is all that great, none of it is in our colors. This card at least ramps 3 mana and gains 3 life. This card destroys lands, which is a little strange. I have no idea. I guess we'll just take the ramp card. Doesn't matter. Meticulous Excavation is like an interesting card, but I don't think it's particularly good. We'll just stuff it in our sideboard. Again, the Power Blade I don't think is going to go in here, but it's better than the leftover green card that we can't use. And again, another Union of the Third Path is our final card. So I will get to deck building and I will see you once the deck is done. So after some cutting and trimming, this is going to be our final deck. I actually realized that the Thran power suits only care about the equipment and auras attached to a creature rather than the artifacts. I thought it would be a game ender, but it turns out it's not exactly as good as I thought it would be. So I ended up cutting those. I cut the Caress of Gix, a few cards that we had like 3 copies of, and while our curve does look kind of high for a draft deck, keep in mind that both of our 7 drops, the Phyrexian Fleshgorger and our 2 copies of Combat Thresher, we can play them for 3 mana if we need to prototype them early on in the game. Overall, I think this looks like a pretty decent list. I don't think we could have asked for all that much more. So let's hop into some games and just see how this thing goes. Sweet, we are on the play to begin with, and honestly this hand looks somewhat decent. Given the breakdown of draft decks, the fact that, you know, there's 23 playables, 17 lands, there's roughly around a 50% chance to draw lands early in the game. So even though this is only a 2-lander, I think we can keep this and just work with what we got for now. So we'll start with the Swamp. Let's see what our opponent is up to. They're on a blue deck, which could mean potentially soldiers. Soul Guide Lantern is a good one. Luckily doesn't hit any of our unearthed creatures, and there's the land that we needed, so we'll be able to drop Semblance Anvil, and from there, yeah, we'll just be able to drop creatures like super early. Another land. Let's go ahead and play the Semblance Anvil. See if this resolves in the first place. They've got the Curate. Alright, that's fine, that's fine. Kind of like a 2-mana instant speed Preordain, but better, potentially? So let's go ahead and exile this Trench Stalker. Now all of our creatures are going to cost 2 less, which is like pretty insane. Alright, we draw another land. I would like to see some non-lands, but can't complain with a 2-mana Myrel. That seems really good. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a counterspell. I didn't really see all that many pass through our table. So, I mean, if this resolves, like, we're gonna start rolling here. Our opponent is timing out, considering whether to use this thing or not. Hopefully this means that it will resolve. Alright, well, I mean, we get there. We'll definitely take the Myrel. No way. Did we just get our opponent to Salty Scoop? Are they just gonna Salt Rope us out? That is so sad, dude. Oh my goodness, this is unreal. How can you Salty Scoop a Myrel? I mean, how bad is it? Alright, well, we get to take another turn, thankfully. We've got the 5 mana, so we can potentially just drop this thing right away. Assuming we even get a chance to do anything. Make a soldier token, we will take that. We'll go ahead and just play a full-on Combat Thresher. Draw a card, looking nice. And I imagine we're just gonna win the game in about, I don't know, a minute, 30 seconds, however long the rope takes. Alright, well, thanks for the content, buddy. I'll take a free win from here. Aw, we got an Eldraine. I already have all the cards from Eldraine? Really? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. We're just gonna see this over and over again. Let's get some stuff from like Innistrad. I don't have a whole lot of Innistrad in my collection. Alright, we're starting first again. We've got the Semblance Anvil again, so it already seems like things are going our way. Bit of a slow start, no 1 or 2 drops, but I mean, this seems pretty decent. We're just gonna go ahead and keep this. I see no reason not to. Let's play Swamp and see what our opponent is up to. Another blue opponent. Ugh. Don't be a repeat of last game, man. Don't get salty when I play the Semblance Anvil and just win the game super early. Alright, they are on blue-white, which means we're probably going to see some soldiers here. Let's go ahead and play the Semblance Anvil. And are they going to respond? If they have a response to it, I mean, that would be pretty brutal. Let's just get rid of the retrieval unit for now. All of our creatures cost a ton less. Well, at least our opponent's not salty scooping, so I mean, we'll get some more content out of this one than the last match for sure. All right, we got a rare soldier. Yeah, so they're definitely on the soldier plan here. Oh, I never considered that this is an artifact creature, so our artifacts and our creatures get reduced in mana. I guess we'll just play a freaking Mishra's Bauble at this point. That's pretty decent. Let's go ahead and flood the board. We'll play some tiny stuff. We will just go for the prototype combat thresher. Seems pretty decent so far. And yeah, we'll just pass the turn. If they do anything scary with the graveyard, we'll exile it. Otherwise, I think we'll just cycle this right away. Yoshin Tactician, that's gonna be a scary one. Looks like our opponent pretty much got like the dream deck that they wanted. There's their soldier artifact, nothing we can do to block it. And I think, yeah, we're gonna crack this. We need some cards. All right, Power Stone Fracture is a good card. I don't think we're gonna run this thing out yet, not until we know that they have some sort of unearth on their side. Unfortunately, this gruesome realization is not gonna board wipe like we want to, so I think we'll just do the draw 2, lose 2, see what more we can get out of it. A couple lands, not super great. So I think before this thing becomes a big problem, let's just go ahead. Yeah, we can't really go to combat with this Yoshin Tactician. Let's just take this thing out. We'll sacrifice the Butcher, because we can always grab that back with the Hero of the Dunes. And there's no sense in attacking. We're just gonna get this thing destroyed, which we'd rather not do. Alright, they're going for a full swing. Sadly, we can't really do much about this. Down to 10 life. If our opponent has the Harbin, they got blessed. They got super blessed. Oh, this is not looking good. This is not looking good. So you know what? We need a flying blocker. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and drop the 4/5 creature. Hopefully that's not countered. That's great. We'll play the Swiftgear Drake. This at least blocks in the air. Prowess could be a big deal. We'll just go ahead and take the Sky Strike Officer. Yeah, we'll put that in our opponent's deck on the bottom. I mean, we're not swinging in with the Drake. I know that for sure. All right, we got one of these in our draft. Maybe it was a mistake not adding it to the deck, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Oh, that's brutal. That is brutal. I have no idea how we win from here, to be honest with you. I think we just gotta do what we can to remove some creatures from the yard. They've got a board wipe, don't they? Oh, that is so brutal. Yeah, we're gonna lose this game. They got pretty much like the nut draw that Soldiers wants. And that's a land? Yeah, we're not getting past this one. Good game, opponent. Wow, another game we're playing first. This seems like a pretty kind of not good opener. I mean, we potentially get the 3rd mana, we can sack the Burnished Heart, but even then there's no guarantees. I think we're gonna mull this one. Oh, this is so rough. This is so rough, because if we can at least get the Burnished Heart down, we can pretty much get like everything onto the battlefield. You know what? We'll keep it. We'll keep it. Might be a bit of a risky move here, especially if they just manage to remove our Burnished Heart. That would be a little heartbreaking. But I think we're gonna risk it. Alright, looks like we got Soldiers again. We did get the 3rd mana, which is exactly what we wanted. Mono white so far. That is fine with me. The Phalanx Vanguard is a pretty good one. This could just potentially be some like random artifact value deck of some kind. We're gonna at least hope so anyways. Well, let's get the Burnished Heart out here. It's at least a decent body. The opponent is going hard on mono white. Drafted an Ornithopter that grows the Vanguard. And they could potentially have a combat trick, so if they... Okay, yeah, we're not going to block here. We're fine just leaving that up for now. Another Survivor of Corliss. Well, I think what we do here, we're going to go for Scrapwork Cohorts. Just get something on the battlefield for now. Have some potential blockers. And then, I mean, we'll just see how things go. We can block with the Burnished Heart and Sacrifice. They've got the Stone Retrieval unit as well. That's really good. That's gonna buff their Vanguard up quite a lot. I think we're safe to block here. I don't really want that thing becoming a big threat later on. We got the Unearth, so like no problem there. And there is the Semblance Anvil. That's kind of nuts. So I think we go ahead and play this. And let's chuck out the... We might need something to deal with flyers. But I think Unearth is more powerful. We'll get rid of the Drake. Make all of our stuff cost less, which is pretty fantastic. Sadly, that means we're taking our turn off right now, but we can get some pretty good stuff back with these creatures here. What would be an absolute blowout is if they also got a Myrel, like especially if we can't find ours. We really haven't had a whole lot of luck with the prototype creatures, at least being able to cast them for their full bodies. Yoshin Frontliner. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Can't do anything this turn. We're just gonna go ahead and not block that, because we want to use our Burnished Heart for mana. Let's use the Evolving Wilds, we'll crack that. Grab another land out of our deck. And land number 6, not quite what we need here. Let's go for the Hero of the Dunes. Ah, this thing's a 4-drop. I made a big screw up right there. But we'll play another Scrapwork Cohort here. Sadly, when we unearth this thing, it's pretty much just going to die right away to one of these Survivor of Corlises, so not much we can really do in that realm. If we attack, they can just double block with the 2 first strikers, so we'll just pass for now. Tocasia's Onulet. Interesting. Sort of like an artifact Thragtusk. They're still going to attack, huh? I think we take this thing out. Again, Unearth is a pretty good ability. And there's the Myrel. That is so good. That is super good. So I think we go to combat. We have what? 2, 3, 4 soldiers here? So if we manage to attack with Myrel, we're gonna get like an enormous board of soldiers. Like there's nothing they can do about it. Repair and recharge. That gets that back. Sure, that's fine. I mean, these Power Stone tokens really haven't been doing all that much for them. They might, yeah, they'll get in with the 4/4. That's fine. So we will just go ahead and block here. And then before it dies, we will activate it. Let's go and grab a Swamp and a Plains. Hopefully that means we'll draw less lands. Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for right there. That is looking pretty good. So I think first we will unearth some cohorts. Unearth another cohort. Seems pretty good. Then we'll go to combat, swing in here, and I guess with the 2/3 ones. Even if they kill Myrel, I mean, that's an enormous board. This is kind of good. I'm really liking what we're seeing here. You're gonna go ahead and block. I'm surprised they're leaving the first strikers up. Yeah, that seems like an interesting choice for blocks, alright. We're gonna lose the Myrel, but that's fine. I think we do want to get rid of the 2 first strikers first. So, yeah, that's fine. Giving it the Myrel, despite that, I mean, growing our board to so many soldier tokens is just nuts. So we lose the cohort. And now our opponent is facing 20 damage just off of these little soldier tokens alone. Great Desert Prospector. Okay, so that creates a lot of Power Stones for them. But I mean, unless they got a lot of artifact sources, all of their unearthing and stuff requires white mana. So honestly, I think next turn we'll just swing in with the entire team of little 2/1 soldiers. And then we'll just play the Fleshgorger and like, what can they do about it? Yep, they're gonna leave up their team of blockers. That is fine. We definitely don't want to cast this and kill all of our stuff. So let's just go to combat. All attack but this. So that's 24 damage, opponent. What you gonna do about it? Yeah, you have to do that. You've got to do that. So what, they're gonna go down all the way to 2. Oh, I guess we could have killed them. That's a bit unfortunate. Let's just go ahead and play the Fleshgorger, and I think that probably gets a concession from them. Alright, they're still fighting it through. I appreciate the fight. Definitely makes up for that opponent that salty roped us earlier. That's so crazy. Alright, they're digging. I don't know if they found what they wanted to find. They can unearth a tactician, but that's really not going to help him here. Or excuse me, a frontliner. Have I been calling it a tactician the whole time? Ah, whatever. Yeah, there we go. GG's opponent. Oh, we got an all-will-be-one gem reward. Man. Alright, let's just move on. Wow, we're really getting blessed. We're always going first in these games. This seems like a decent opener. Having Go for the Throat is nice. Being able to play the Burnished Heart, potentially with some of the land draws that we get in the little first few turns of the game. I can't even talk anymore. Yeah, this seems totally fine. We'll just do this from here. We'll probably play the Tocasia's Welcome first before we get any of our creatures on the field, so we'll at least draw some extra cards. Oh, we got the Swift Sphere. Is this just going to be red deck wins? Are we going to see some Izzet? What do we got? We'll leave up some interaction in case this Swift Sphere becomes a problem. Oh, Iconoclast. Okay, yeah, so that thing's got to die. Let's just get rid of it now. Honestly, like, is this a draft deck or is this like some janky Explorer deck? Let's go ahead with the Tocasia's Welcome. Pretty good card. Storing Lesson. Alright, that's fine. What did they discard? Sibling Rivalry? Yeah, I mean, they probably would have done that because I haven't seen any creatures from our side of the board yet. Let's just go ahead and drop the... I don't really know what we do here, because this thing is so much more susceptible. Either way, we get to draw another card. I think we'll go for the Burnished Heart play, and if it doesn't die, we'll get to ramp 2 at least. Like, worst case scenario, we have Soul Guide Lantern, we have Battlefield Butcher, gives us another card draw. Energy Refractor. We got an egg on the field. Except it doesn't sack, that's interesting. Third Path Servant. Well, our opponent is definitely on the Izzet aggro play. We will not block. We need some lands pretty bad. So you know what? I think we will just go ahead and sack this for no block value. Let's go ahead and grab some lands out of our deck. This might not have been the right play, but we'll just do this here. Soul Guide Lantern. Get rid of the Iconoclast just in case. We're probably going to take a hit here, but that's fine. We've definitely got the creatures in backup here that we could definitely use very well to our advantage. Pristine Talisman. They've got all the ramp going here. Is this the set with Portal to Phyrexia? Because they very much could be getting close there. Alright, so we're going to take 4. We're going to take more than 4. Great. We're taking 7? That's half our life total. Ugh. Alright, well let's start dropping some defenders here. Alright, Combat Thresher is a good one. This could be very risky, because if they have some way to destroy it or bounce it back or whatever they may have, this could be an issue. It's at least a creature with power 3 or less, so if we play this... oh, we don't have the mana. Okay, epic. that's just fantastic. I think we'll play the Cohort, actually. The Cohort will draw us a card, give us a second blocker to work with, maybe get us a land? Alright. Not the land we wanted to see, but that's fine. We have some blockers to stop our opponents from doing their thing. Blitz Automaton. Oh. Alright, so we're gonna have to double block that thing. That's pretty bad for us. I mean, if our opponent has any kind of way to get rid of one of our creatures here, this is gonna be really bad for us. Don't be a combat trick. Don't be a combat trick. Please. Sure. Sure, that's fine. That's gonna do literally nothing. We're down to 3 life. Alright, so let's just sack this to draw a card. Oh, that is not good enough. Oh, and I didn't crack the Evolving Wilds. I am a fool. Oh, brother. What do we do here? What do we do here? Let's play the Butcher first. This is at least a big blocker. They've got the mana to destroy a permanent, which is less than great. And then maybe we just go for a small Combat Thresher. Draws us another card. Disfigure is good. Okay. I think we disfigure the Swift Sphere now, just so that they can't get us with some kind of combat trick. So let's do that, pass the turn. Worst case, we'll still have a blocker up. They're going to use this to draw some cards. That is fine. A turn off is a turn that we can start getting ahead. What on earth is this? That sure is an interesting effect, alright. It's basically just a cantrip at this point. I think our next course of actions, we gotta kill this thing because that is gonna do some major damage to us over the course of a game. So let's sack this, not be dumb about it. Let's grab a white source. Alright, Semblance Anvil. I don't know if that's gonna really help us that much. I guess we get a cheaper Gear Drake? I don't really know. Seems a little sus to me, Chief. You know what? I see no reason why not to. Let's just play this. Then at least we can drop the Combat Thresher for 5 mana. We will get rid of the Drake here, so our artifacts and creatures cost less. And then that way next turn we also have our creature with the enormous butt to help us block. Let's go ahead and play this as a big boy. Draw an extra card with Tocasia's Welcome. And as long as we can flood our board, oh, the Fleshgorger is really nice. As long as we can flood our board, I don't really think our opponent's gonna want to do much. I mean, they do have the Firebomb, which is 7 mana destroy anything. It's a little rough. Boundary Inspector, that's not gonna help them too much. Are they gonna destroy our Double Striker? Splitting the Power Stone. Sure, that's fine. Got rid of the Flask, yeah. I didn't see our opponent really using that. Gonna use the Supply Drop, and they have no mana to work with right now. That is good for us. Ooh, this is actually very good for us. Because we can go ahead and play the Myrel here, and then play Fleshgorger. They're probably gonna have to go after Fleshgorger because it gains life. So maybe let's just start getting in with the Thrasher. Sure, we'll take that thing out. They can draw more cards with their Servant, but even then, will they want to do it? They can try to go after the Fleshgorger, but that's going to cost them a bunch of life. They're just going to go after the Myrel. That's fine. Urza, interesting. We got the Urzi here. Don't think it's going to do much for our opponent, though. I think for now... Oh, okay. Our opponent's just going to scoop. I was still thinking about what I wanted to do, but alright, we'll take it. Ooh, and we got the Chancellor of Tales, another Wilds of Eldraine card. Potentially, I may end up using this card in something like a Balloona Adventures deck in a Store Crawl. But I mean, I'm grateful to get anything from these rewards anyways. Seems like we're not really getting cards anymore, so I will definitely take cosmetics. Well, that was quite the draft. I don't think I've ever played a draft before, aside from like a cube draft, where I managed to get 2 pretty good mythics in the same sort of rotation of packs. I think the deck was actually pretty good. Like, I could have played game 2 a little bit better, I think. I definitely made some mistakes here and there, and I definitely kept a hand that I don't think I should have. But at the end of the day, I mean, we can't complain with a deck that played so well and performed so good. I also appreciate these free draft events because even if you do a pretty bad job at doing your drafting, you at least get a little bit of draft experience and it'll help you become a better player over time. Thank you all for checking out the video. If you've made it all the way to the end, I would appreciate if you click that like button down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more MTG content like that, and comment down below if you have any deck suggestions for me. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You can also find me on social media at JayoticMTG on all of the social medias that you see on screen right now, and the links to all of those will be down in the description below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.